Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to this channel as always. So lots to negotiate on this current video today. Going to give you the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. Also going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Harry Maguire, and of course lots of other things to currently talk about. So we do know there's been a lot of speculation, of course, of players coming into Manchester United, and of course players leaving Manchester United and all that. And I am very, very adamant that Manchester United, do need to get a couple of more signings in at least before this current window does shut, because these are just currently under 2 weeks remaining now in this transfer window. And I do believe, we also need to sell players, to help us generate funds, and of course rebuild the squad even more. So potentially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was speaking about our ambitions the other week for this season, and he does believe, we'll have a better season in the Premier League this season. I'm very adamant we'll have a better season this season. Last season was disappointing. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware, and we failed to qualify for the Champions League. Well, actually, we failed to qualify for the Champions League three times out of the 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson retired. So, we have been, very, very inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years. But I do believe, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can get, Manchester United back to glory without a shadow of a doubt. We have got to get the right players to Manchester United this summer that can elevate Manchester United forward. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently, talking about our recruitment policy, because analysing our recruitment policy in the past couple of windows has been very poor, because we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer. But, we have got 2 good players on the board so far. We've got, we spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Well, £68 million if you want to include the add-ons. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be, so far, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, because they've both started well in pre-season. And I do believe, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have got all the ingredients required to become huge successes at Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka's had a great start to his Manchester United career. With Daniel James, I still say his prospect, and he's still killing, needs time to develop. But yeah, still both very, very young. But like I said, now I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities, will be to recommend an experienced centre half, because we've got issues defensively. He'll also want to add reinforcements in that midfield. Regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. Our initial plan is to actually, was to keep Paul Pogba, and obviously 2 new additions in that midfield, to replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini. Obviously, they're both left the club, and obviously, we are in search for a right winner. So we could still get another 2 or 3 players, before this current window does shut. Obviously, Ed Woodward has remained in the UK to oversee our transfer business, because he wants, to get some deals and that are currently completed, as you all currently know. As you all currently know, but initially, reflecting back at the end of March, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his preference was actually, to get the majority, well, all of our transfer business done by the time, we went currently on pre-season. But yeah, we are going to do more signings. I'm very, very convinced that's currently going to happen. So it is looking very imminent that Bruno Fernandes is going to be our third signing this summer. I was reading reports yesterday. It was stemming from the Italian press, and it reported said, Manchester United had reached a transfer agreement with Sporting Lisbon. For Bruno Fernandes. It reportedly said a fee of around £62 million has been agreed, between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon. So that's going to take our spending up to around £130 million. So obviously, we've already spent £68 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. And it did initially say that Bruno Fernandes is set to fly to England to obviously have his Manchester United medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. Now, potentially, it's looking likely now, according to reports, we've finally got a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, because we have been in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time. I think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed he wants to play Bruno Fernandes as a number 10, according to the Daily Mirror. So obviously number 10 is just behind the centre forward and all that. And yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes would be the right solution for Manchester United. I think he'll rejuvenate the team, he'll bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. He's creative, and I think our midfield will look well balanced, with Bruno Fernandes in it. But Paul Pogba's situation, that, like I said, he's not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So I said, regardless of what happens there with Paul Pogba, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still looking to bring a couple of new additions in our midfield. But like I said, Bruno Fernandes, 24 years of age, he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And obviously, as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend a number of young players that can come in, grow, develop and emulate into superstars. And I think Bruno Fernandes is the right type of signing for Manchester United. So according to recent reports, it's looking like he's going to be our third signing this summer. I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's double transfer swoop is, Bruno Fernandes. Then once we get the deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, then he's going to focus on, bringing Milinkovic-Savic in. And I do believe, there would be a fantastic base in our midfield. And I think they dramatically improve, as really, really well. So I would love them to, players to come in. But yeah, with Bruno Fernandes, he has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation anywhere. Obviously, for quite some time, it seems to be that, Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block, because initially, Sporting Lisbon valued Bruno Fernandes at around £70 million. Obviously, earlier on this week, it said we was willing to put around the £50 million bidding, but obviously, that's too insufficient, because the president, Federico Fernandes, he came out earlier on this week, he was the president of Sporting Lisbon, and he said Manchester United would have to pay upwards of £56 million and all that. And the Sporting Lisbon boss, he's had his say on the speculation about Bruno Fernandes, and he basically said that he could leave Sporting Lisbon this summer. He said his future is still up in the air. He says that clubs are interested in signing, but he did admit it's going to be hard, for Sporting Lisbon to find an adequate replacement for him. But Bruno, I think Sporting Lisbon are coming to accept the fact anyway that he's been wanting to leave for quite some time. He's been wanting to leave for quite some time, and when he does make his move to Manchester United, reportedly did say we're set to give him around £100,000 a week, which does equate to around £5.5 million a year. But like I said, he initially said now Manchester United are the only team in the running anywhere. Obviously, we do know Tottenham were in for him at one point. Obviously, Liverpool and that were in for him at one point. Recent reports said earlier on this week that PSG had entered the race for him. But Bruno Fernandes' agent has actually been to the UK quite a few times. So obviously, thrash out a deal. Obviously, initially, Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client, but I do believe Bruno Fernandes notified his representatives anywhere that his actual preference is to make a move to Manchester United and all that. But he did initially say early on this week from Sky Sports that it was going to be unlikely he was going to join Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, because we reportedly believed that the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes was actually stemming from Portugal rather than Manchester and all that. But I think also Jurgen Klopp's had his say on the speculation. He is actually hopeful that we don't sign Bruno Fernandes, because obviously Jurgen Klopp's aware that Bruno Fernandes will dramatically improve our squad. But like I said, he's been one of our priority targets for the entirety of this summer and all that. But Bruno Fernandes has been at Sporting, has been 2 years. He's exceeded expectation levels. He's scored 32 goals in 50 games last season. His initial release clause is £88 million in his contract with Sporting Lisbon, but Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that figure. He only signed a 5-year deal last summer with Sporting Lisbon, so he's under contract with them until 2023. And obviously, I think he grew up and developed in Italy, because he spent the majority of his career in Italy, and that when he was currently younger. So reportedly it's looking like he's going to be our third signing this summer. And I think I'd love us to keep Paul Pogba. Imagine having Bruno Fernandes, Milinkovic-Savic and Paul Pogba in our midfield. I think they'd complement each other really, really well, and they're blending our midfield, really, really well. And it would be even better if we kept Paul Pogba. Putting Bruno Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield would be absolutely fantastic. Even if Paul Pogba was to go, it would still look good, with Bruno Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic in a minute. But it would be even more beneficial, of course, if Paul Pogba, was to remain at the football club. And once this deal gets fully finalised for Bruno Fernandes, then I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was looking to get a deal over the line for Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio. But like I said, about Bruno Fernandes, I said Tottenham were in for him at one point. Tottenham held a few negotiations with his agent, because obviously, Tottenham themselves are looking to do more business this summer. I do know they've got 2 players in so far this summer. They've got Jack Clark from Leeds, they've got Tanguy Ndombele. Tottenham obviously smashed their transfer record to get him. They've got Ryan Sessegnon, I do believe, on their agenda. They've got Giovanni Lo Celso on their agenda. Tottenham now recently entered the race for Paulo Dybala. So Tottenham are looking to do more transfer activity. Like I said, with Liverpool, they were in for Bruno Fernandes. Initially, Liverpool don't really need to sign anyone because they've invested well in the last couple of windows, and they had a good season last season. But to be fair, to be quite fair, they have started their pre-season quite bad, Liverpool. So maybe they're still looking to, maybe sign a couple of players. Probably Liverpool may not make many signings this summer. But yeah, I think he's definitely not going to be coming out to Manchester United now. He's Bruno Fernandes. He's coming to England to have his medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. I think £62 million is pretty reasonable, to be quite fair, if a player Bruno Fernandes' calibre more level. And as you said the other week, that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wasn't going to get backed for this particular signing. And it basically said that Ed Woodward had said no to Bruno Fernandes, because he said, they had concerns with the Manchester United board about, spending big on a player that knows little about Champions League football, that hasn't really, got experience playing to the highest level. So he did say the other week that the board had concerns about, bringing Bruno Fernandes in, but he's primarily attacking midfielder anywhere, and I think we're reportedly playing him as a number 10, but we've actually confirmed anyway, we're not intending on overspending on our current transfer targets, but quite a few people have been pointed out, we should be sensible over our recruitment this summer, but I said initially, we need to sell players to help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad. So it's looking like the Bruno Fernandes coming in, and that's going to take our spending up to around £130 million. We get Milinkovic-Savic in, that's going to take our spending up to over £200 million if we get Milinkovic-Savic in. So we'll talk about Milinkovic-Savic, and I'll give you an update on Harry Maguire. So Milinkovic-Savic, we do know he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Manchester United. Milinkovic-Savic. Now, potentially, I'm aware that Manchester United have not yet made any formal offer for the player, according to the Daily Mail and all that. Even though reports indicated out earlier on this week, this was actually stemming from the Italian press, La Repubblica, saying that reportedly Manchester United had agreed a fee of around €75 million with Lazio for Milinkovic-Savic, and it also said a contract term that had been agreed. €75 million equates to around £67 million in pounds sterling, and it initially said there was add-ons included around just over £4 million, so initially risen up to around £71 million. So that's what it said earlier on this week, that we agreed a fee and that a contract term and that had been agreed, which would take Milinkovic-Savic under contract with Manchester United until 2024. But potentially, as far as I'm aware, I do believe that Milinkovic-Savic's agent arrived in the UK earlier on this week to thrash out a deal for his client to join Manchester United, and I do believe he currently remains in the UK now, does Milinkovic-Savic's agent. Allegedly, it said earlier on this week that Milinkovic-Savic had notified his Lazio teammates that he does want to leave Lazio this summer, as he has currently confirmed, and it reported said that Lazio have agreed to sell Milinkovic-Savic. So now we're focusing on getting a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, and now we're going to focus on getting a deal over the line for Milinkovic-Savic. Milinkovic-Savic, like I said, he's 24 years and virtually still very young, still got a lot of development in him, just like Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, his course is Serbian. He is primarily a central midfielder, mainly box to box. I think can also deploy as an attacking midfielder, but I do believe he would blend in our midfielder really, really well. And I think similar to Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes wants to leave Sporting Lisbon, Milinkovic-Savic reportedly wants to leave Lazio. So both players want to come to Manchester United, as I said, and they do obviously want to relish that opportunity, because both players want to rejuvenate their careers and take their football and their careers to the next level. But collectively, Bruno Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic will improve in our current midfield. But now, reportedly, I read in the Daily Mail the other day, they reportedly said that Man United are willing to offer around £72 million for Milinkovic-Savic. Reportedly, Lazio the Lazio president has confirmed that Lazio want around £90 million. As far as I'm aware, Manchester United are not willing to pay this at the moment, because that is an extortionate amount, for Milinkovic-Savic. So reportedly, we're only willing to offer around £72 million and all that. Came out the other week actually, about this story, from Sky in Italy. They said Manchester United, were preparing to submit around the £72 million bid. We're prepared to submit a £72 million bid for Milinkovic-Savic, and it said the other week in Sky Sports that Lazio wanted around £90 million. I do believe his Milinkovic-Savic's agent has been to the UK quite a few times. I do believe Man United have had quite a few negotiations with him. We've also succeeded in talks with Lazio. Obviously, like I said, I think a few other teams have been in for him, but we've been linked to him since last summer. But I do believe Lazio last summer, wanted over £100 million. But potentially, and You know, he only signed a new deal with Lazio last October, so he is under contract with Lazio until 2023. In his 4 years with Lazio, I think in the majority of his 4 years, he has done really, really well. He scored 22 goals in 125 games, and in all competitions for Lazio, he scored 31 goals in 138 games. So he has been impressive in the majority of his 4 years with Lazio. But yeah, very, very good player. I think reportedly, you know, he had a good season last season. Did link with Savage, but I think, you know, Lazio have agreed to sell the player, but no fee has yet come to an agreement, as it allegedly said it had. As it allegedly said earlier in this week, that a fee had been agreed. But I think we'll put our formal offering. You know, we're reportedly willing to offer 72 million. You know, we're 18 million pounds short of Lazio's valuation, because they want somewhere in the region of around 90 million pounds. But like I said, you know, regardless what happens with Paul Pogba, you know, we still want to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield. It would be beneficial if Paul Pogba, you know, was to currently stay with the football club. You know, like I said, you know, I would be sceptical about Milinkovic Savage, you know, just coming in, you know, to replace Paul Pogba. But if Bruno Fernandes, you know, as well was added in the equation, then it would be a fantastic indeed. But, you know, we sell Paul Pogba, you know, I think it'll help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. And, you know, for Paul Pogba's departure, you know, we'll definitely generate over £100 million. And with that money, you know, could get 2 players, maybe even 3 players, of course, with that money. And same with Lukaku, you know, we'll generate quite a bit of money, you know, for his current departure. And again, it'll help us with our transition and all that. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows that, you know, Pogba and Lukaku are 2 imperative players, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, wants to keep, he's trying to keep his imperative players at the football club, and he's also working on bringing players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now wants to build a squad, you know, with the club's history. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, reflecting on this window, you know, he's basically not frustrated. You know, he says basically, you know, we've got 2 good players in, and he basically said, you know, we have got to be patient in this transfer window. But you can say the board have let Ole Gunnar Solskjaer down. If, you know, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players there that he wants, you can say the board have let him down, and then obviously, you know, the Man United fans will start criticising the board, and, you know, they've every right to, you know, currently do that. And I think, you know, the board will get criticism from the fans. You know, Ed Woodward and that will currently, you know, get criticism, because initially the board assured that there was going to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that this summer. In my personal opinion, I think he should initially been given around £200 million to spend, because, you know, just pretend, you know, it didn't work out for him, you know, when he was the interim manager in his first 3 months, even though it didn't. You know, at that time, Manchester United had no intentions, you know, of giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. This is a prime example. You know, we obviously know, we were obviously, you know, intending on bringing, you know, Pochettino in and Zinedine Zidane. You know, obviously was in for Pochettino at one point. They'd have only come to Manchester United as if we you know, if we were willing to give them an extortionate amount, you know, to spend. But I still believe, you know, anyway, you know, we're gonna do more transfer activity without a shadow of that. We're gonna do more transfer activity. Looking like we're gonna get Bruno Fernandes, then hopefully we can get Milinkovic Savage, and then hopefully, you know, we can recommend, you know, Harry Maguire in. I want to give you the latest news now anyway with in regards to Harry Maguire, because we do know Manchester United are in search for a central defender, because obviously, you know, we've had issues defensively for quite some time now, and obviously, you know, that you could see the issues we had defensively last season. You know, we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games, but we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. So obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified, you know, Harry Maguire as his number 1 defensive target, and obviously, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to put Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because he believes they'll complement each other really, really well. And I do believe, you know, Victor Lindelof himself is happy of the prospects of Harry Maguire, you know, linking up with him in our current back line. Now, obviously, we've been in talks with Leicester, you know, for quite some time over getting a deal finalised for Harry Maguire. I still believe, you know, talks are currently ongoing. Harry Maguire, obviously, you know, played yesterday in Leicester's pre-season game against Stoke, and that actually, you know, could be Harry Maguire's farewell appearance and all that. But I've been reading recent reports up, and it reportedly says, you know, that Leicester have told Manchester United that they want a higher transfer fee up front for Harry Maguire, because reportedly, you know, Leicester, you know, don't think, you know, will qualify for the Champions League next season. So we do know Leicester want a world record fee. You know, they do want in the excess of £80 million. Obviously, you know, Brendan Rodgers, you know, told Harry Maguire he can leave as long as, you know, we're willing to meet their valuation. Obviously, you know, Harry Maguire the other week told Brendan Rodgers, he also told his Leicester teams, of course, that he does want to leave Leicester to obviously rejuvenate his career and, of course, take his footballing career to the next level. And obviously wants to make the move to Manchester United, because obviously, you know, he wants to, you know, make the move to Manchester United, because he obviously, you know, now wants to relish that current opportunity. But I think, now we may be forced, to pay the £80 million that Leicester are currently demanding. So reportedly, it says so far, this is according to the Daily Mail and all that, Manchester United have reportedly, offered around £72 million with, additional bonus payments. Due to be based on trophies and I think finishing in the top four with these additional bonuses. But reportedly, Leicester have confirmed that they want they've told Manchester United that they want more of a transfer fee up front and all that. So maybe Manchester United are willing to meet this and all that. But we do know we've been in pole position to sign Harry Maguire for quite some time. Obviously reflected back a couple of weeks ago. It was looking like the Man City were going to get him, because obviously, City were going to pay, City were going to get him for around £80 million. City were going to, they were orchestrating paying him around 280 grand a week and all that with Man City. And City were seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. Initially, Harry Maguire's first choice preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United. But initially, City are not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding. I do believe City are only willing to pay in the excess around £65 million. So potentially, Harry Maguire does want to become captain of Manchester United if his move to Old Trafford materialises. Manchester United actually, may consider, that, giving him the captaincy. But, no fee has yet, come to an agreement. So they want a higher transfer fee up front. So they want a higher percentage do Leicester. And I think, there's also been good news, and we've also been given more of a boost now in our pursuit of Harry Maguire, because reportedly Brendan Rodgers has come out and he's, Brendan Rodgers has come out, and I think he's something to do. I think he's insisted that there is no cut-off point date. There's no cut-off point date, which means that Leicester would no longer consider selling Harry Maguire. So he's insisted now there is no longer a cut-off date, which is good. But like I said, on two occasions now, the media have said basically that we agreed an £80 million fee with Leicester for Harry Maguire. It came out last Sunday. This was stemming from Bleacher Report. And they basically said that Manchester United had agreed a world record fee of £80 million with Leicester for Harry Maguire, and it did at least suggest out that Harry Maguire's transfer from Leicester to Manchester United was very, very imminent and all that. Obviously, that got proven to be a load of nonsense. So basically, that was the media, on that aspect, just justifying their existence. To be quite honest with you, and then you saw it a couple of weeks ago. Duncan Castles, he also came out and said, Manchester United had agreed around an £80 million deal, with Leicester for Harry Maguire again. But again, that got proven to be a load of nonsense. So, yeah, but I think Harry Maguire, will address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well. Don't forget, Manchester United have already had a £70 million bid turned down for him. Because initially, at one point, we was only willing to pay around, 70 or £75 million to him. Obviously, Leicester value him at £80 million. Even some reports said they valued him at £90 million. But £90 million is far too extortionate. For that figure, or maybe just a bit more, you'd probably be able to get a Koulibaly and that money. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. He's actually urged Ed Woodward, to actually go and get a deal completed for him. And I think this is following the injury, the bad injury, that Eric Bailly has sustained. Obviously, he sustained a serious knee injury, and obviously had to come off in our 2-1 victory against Tottenham. And like I said with Eric Bailly, I think his Manchester United career has been badly affected. The amount of injuries sustained. Obviously, with his fallout under managers as well. I think it's really it's taken its toll on Eric Bailly, and I think he's a very imperative player. I think he's a really, really good defender and all that. He's got great potential as Eric Bailly, and we still know how essentially he is, like I said. But I think his Manchester United career has been really affected. He's been here over 3 years. We paid £30 million to him from Villarreal, back in 2016. But I think he's a doubt for this season. So this is why now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has urged Ed Woodward, to get him a deal over the line for Harry Maguire. But Harry Maguire, of course, still got a lot of development in him. 26 years of age, well Premier League proven, don't forget, so that's very beneficial for Manchester United. I think his stability is really, really good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's also, very, very good in the air. He's Harry Maguire. I don't think he's very fast, but I don't think that's clearly an issue. Obviously, he's been at Leicester, 2 years. He's made 76 appearances for Leicester in all competitions. I think, 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. Don't forget, he only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them until 2023. Leicester only paid around £17 million for his services from Hull City back in 2017. But actually, Mike Phelan's actually managed Harry Maguire during his short tenure and that with Hull. So I do believe, I might feel he's keen on reuniting with Harry Maguire and all that. Obviously, I think we was also tracking him, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United. We was tracking Harry Maguire then. So we have been long admirers of the player. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, our actual priority, was to recommend a central, a defender to come in. But reflecting back under the Jose Mourinho era last summer, the board weren't backing the signs there that Jose Mourinho, wanted to recommend into the football club. And one of the players Mourinho wanted last summer, of course, was Harry Maguire. But I think Leicester were playing hardball last summer because, they wanted around, 70 or £75 million from last summer and all that. But like I said, he's also British, Harry Maguire. And don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United and that this summer. But like I said, I don't think, we've had a good defence to rebuild on, since we had the likes of Vidic, Fernandes, Evra, Gary Neville, because they were great defenders, back under the Alex Ferguson era. And obviously, I do know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to rebuild, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy and all that. But we just want to back, to be being a competitive elite level football club. I said I think our expectations this season probably will be at least to finish in the top 4. I think we'll have a better season this season, like I said. I think we may be finishing in the top 4, maybe finishing in the top 3, but I'm still very sceptical of Manchester United win the league. I don't think we win the league. We haven't won it, for like over 6 years now. Obviously, the last time won it was obviously not in Alex Ferguson's last season. But I think, at least in the next couple of years, I still don't think, we'll win it. So I'm very, very sceptical about that. But I don't think we'll win the league, this season. But I think we may get top 4, maybe the top 3. I said in this year, our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, because, there's still lots to address in the squad. We basically need to revitalise the squad. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Because obviously, the majority of this squad's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's only 2 players that are his at this present time. That's obviously Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. But like I did currently say, so actually, looking at our next 3 signings are going to be, Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio, and Harry Maguire from Leicester. So if we're to get Harry Maguire, say we get Bruno Fernandes, we're going to get him for 62 million, so that's going to take our spend up to around 130 million. We get Harry Maguire for around, 80 million pounds. That's going to take our spending to 210 million. And then probably say Serge Milinkovic, if we can convince Lazio to lower their asking price for around, 72 million pounds. That's around around 282 million pounds on another 3 players in, if my calculation is right. So that's quite a lot of money, and yeah, but we'll definitely like I said, do more transfer activity. As I do updating you on a regular basis anyway, in regards to Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, I did give me an update about Paul Pogba yesterday. Obviously, I did say to you that Real Madrid are very confident, they can currently sign Paul Pogba. Now, potentially, Real Madrid have obviously offloaded a couple of their players so far this summer, and I think they've generated around, £100 million for their departures. Obviously, Real Madrid are looking to offload a couple of more of their players to a couple of more of their players, to obviously help them generate even more funds to meet our 170 or 180 million pound valuation, because reportedly now we value Paul Pogba at around 180 million. So basically, we're demanding more than double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. Because obviously, we paid 89 million pounds for him from Juventus back in 2016 and all that. And he hasn't been the player as we all thought he would have been. He hasn't really lived up to expectation levels. He's been very inconsistent, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But with Paul Pogba, I think he's had a great start to pre-season. We saw glimpses of his best form. Mainly in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. That's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. But obviously, reports indicated out over the month ago now saying that Paul Pogba is seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he even did say at one point he was even willing to go on striker to force a move away from the football club and all that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken a lot about Paul Pogba quite recently. He's also spoken to the player, in regards to his long-term future. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. He knows how much of an imperative player he is. He did reportedly say the other week that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed Paul Pogba. He has revealed that he has considered Paul Pogba for the captaincy at Manchester United this season. In a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. Now, I'm not too sure. I don't think anyone's a captain at the moment. I think there was talks about of it getting given to Young. There was also talks of De Gea, wanting the captaincy, and Harry Maguire, if he's moved to Manchester United, materialised, he said he wants to become the captain. So there's been quite a few players mentioned and all that. But yeah, he said reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has considered Paul Pogba for the current captaincy. But like I said, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola has confirmed that Paul Pogba, is in the process of leaving the club. He did confirm this a couple of weeks ago. But Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club, at least for the last couple of months, I think now, last 2 to 3 months, because Paul Pogba's been widely spoken about, throughout the course of this window, and he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Like I said initially, it was in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to build a side around Paul Pogba, and I'd like Paul Pogba to stay, because if we get Bruno, Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic, like I said earlier on in the video, I think they'll all complement each other fantastically well. But like I said, in Milinkovic-Savic, you can't put him you can't put him in Paul Pogba's calibre or level. You can't even put Bruno Fernandes in Paul Pogba's calibre or level, because when Paul Pogba is at his best, he is one of the best midfielders in the world, and when he's on form, Paul Pogba, like he has shown at Manchester United at times, he's like two players in one. Is Paul Pogba, but like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does know how much an imperative player he is. We do know Real Madrid and Juventus have been battling out for Paul Pogba's services. I do believe now as far as I'm aware, Juventus are no longer in for him, because I haven't heard recent reports coming out from the mainstream media saying that Juventus are in for him, but there was in for him at one point. But for quite some time, Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and obviously his likely destination has been Real Madrid. And I think Paul Pogba wants to play under Zinedine Zidane's guidance, because probably believes he'll flourish under Zinedine Zidane's guidance. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer initially wants to says Manchester United can rebuild around Paul Pogba. He says Paul Pogba doesn't need to leave to work fulfill his ambitions. Real Madrid themselves so far this summer, they've spent around, is it 300 million or is it over 300 million pounds on 3 players? I think they signed the likes of Rodrigo, Mendy, Eden Hazard, Jovicic, and Eddie Militao. So Real Madrid have signed 5 players so far this summer. Have they signed more? I'm not too sure, but as far as I'm aware, they spent around 300 odd million pounds. But like I said, Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment for Paul Pogba. Florentino Perez even confirmed that on the Real Madrid board. Basically, Real Madrid actually wanted to include Gareth Bale in their bid to sign Paul Pogba. I was actually watching the news yesterday. It actually said that Gareth Bale is close to leaving Real Madrid after falling out of favour with Zinedine Zidane. And there's been talks about him coming to Manchester United for several years. There was talks about him making a return back to Tottenham, where he did have 6 good years there when he was younger. But reportedly now, I think he's actually set to go play in the Chinese Super League, because reportedly Gareth Bale has been offered around £1 million a week to go play in the Chinese Super League. So he will probably obviously become the first player to receive £1 million a week, and he's on around 600 grand a week at Real Madrid. Is Gareth Bale, and obviously he's 30 years of age. He turned 30 earlier on this month, so he's still got a bit of development in him. He's aged up now, he's Bale. But like I said, anyway, I didn't want him at Manchester United. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have took him, but he's fallen out of favour with Zinedine Zidane. And even though Bale's agent, he's had his say, and he basically said that that his current client has got no intentions of leaving Real Madrid. I think Bale himself initially had no intentions of leaving Real Madrid, but Zinedine Zidane confirmed at the end of last season that he no longer fits his plans with Bale. This is what Zinedine Zidane said, and he did declare out that Gareth Bale has no future and that with Real Madrid. So according to what I saw on the news yesterday, reportedly it's looking like he's going to be going to China. But Bale, I've got so many concerns about him. He's well injury prone. He's been inconsistent for Real Madrid in the last few seasons. He's still got 3 years left on his contract over Real Madrid. But like I said, despite the fact that he's injury prone, Bale's ratio is still very good. He scored 102 goals in 231 games for Real Madrid in all competitions, and he has provided around 65 assists. So his ratio is still very, very impressive. And don't forget, Bale can play on the left. Bale can also play on the right. And obviously Manchester United are in search for a winner. But yeah, it's looking like according to the news, he's going to be going to play in the Chinese Super League. And Real Madrid did pay around £85 million for him from Tottenham, back in 2013. Obviously, I think that was a world record fee at that current point. But yeah, at one point, they were desperate to include Gareth Bale in their bid to sign Paul Pogba. But anyway, Real Madrid are looking to offload a couple of more of their players, and they may need to anyway, to make room for Paul Pogba in that midfield. Obviously, there was talks about Isco quite some time back, because he's been surplus to requirements at Real Madrid, well, especially last season, because the majority of Isco's appearances last season actually, came on the bench for Real Madrid, especially under Santiago Solari, because he was out of favour, with Santiago Solari. And obviously, Santiago Solari, I think he was on only had a short tenure with Madrid, and then obviously Real Madrid obviously got Zinedine Zidane currently back in, even though initially Zinedine Zidane did walk out of the job after and he was out, he was manager for like 9 months, and obviously went back into the Real Madrid job and all that. But with Paul Pogba, like I said, he's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United with an option to extend it by a further year. It did say we was considering giving Paul Pogba a new contract, well, opening negotiations, try and get him a new contract to try and convince him to remain in the football club. And but essentially, yeah, there was talks about him possibly making a return back to Turin, and obviously, Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin, but he hasn't really replicated this since he did make the return to Manchester United and all that. And yeah, so there was talks about him going back to Turin, but I initially said anyway, Juventus probably would have to offload 1 or 2 of their central players anyway to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think they'd be able to afford him outright. Juventus themselves have done good business system. They've obviously got they got Ronaldo last summer. Obviously, they got Adrian Rabiot, they got Aaron Ramsey, they got Matthijs de Ligt. I think they paid around £75 million for Matthijs de Ligt. So Juventus themselves have done really, really good business. But yeah, Paul Pogba's future, still currently remains uncertain at the moment. But Paul Pogba's stats were very impressive last season. He scored 47 goals in, 16 goals, in 47 appearances in all competitions, and provided 11 assists. And since he rejoined the club in 2016, I think Paul Pogba's, scored around 31 goals in 135 games, something like that anywhere. And he's won the Europa League and the League Cup, and obviously that came in his second season with Manchester United. But definitely Paul Pogba is arguably the best midfielder in the world, one of the best midfielders in the world when he hits top form, that is. I just think he wants to leave Manchester United, because I think maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. Maybe he wants to be in Champions League football. Maybe he's frustrated with lack of competitiveness at Manchester United. But, we'll definitely generate over £100 million for his departure. Initially, we wanted around 150 or 160 million. But now it initially says, we've risen our asking price. But I'd still say in this market, this day and age, Paul Pogba is worth in the region from between 150 to 160 million pounds. 180 million pounds. No one's going to pay 180 million pounds for Paul Pogba. But like I said, this is what we do currently reportedly want now, and we'll make a huge profit if we can, get him 180 million pounds. That's over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. But Paul Pogba's been here over 3 years, and I still believe he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. But it don't matter anyway, because regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's orchestrating, bringing a couple of new additions in that midfield. But since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, we've seen 3 players depart the club. Valencia left after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, he left at the end of last season. And Ander Herrera left on a free transfer, which was disappointing. Fellaini left back in the January transfer window. So these still basically lots to address in the squad. And so, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Romelu Lukaku and all that now, he's another player that's been relentlessly linked to a move away from Manchester United, just like Paul Pogba. And Lukaku, just like Paul Pogba, has confirmed that he does want to leave Manchester United. And we do know Lukaku's been heavily linked to a move to Inter Milan. Obviously, recent reports now have said that Juventus have currently now entered the race. And I think, we sell Romelu Lukaku, it would be beneficial for Manchester United. It would be also beneficial for the player himself. I think for Lukaku, I think his preference, would be Juventus, because Juventus, probably, would be able to guarantee him, more success in that than Inter Milan. And I think Lukaku did say a while back, he was talking about a proposed move to Juventus. Well, it was actually his first choice preference, because I think he was excited about, the prospect of playing alongside Ronaldo, but at Juventus. But I think then there was a bit of change of scenery, and obviously since then he's been talking about his proposed move to Inter Milan for the majority of the summer. But he has been relentlessly, linked to a move away from the football club. Obviously, we've said to Inter Milan, we want around 75 or 80 million pounds. Obviously, the valuation seems to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. Because obviously, we want to recoup the money that we initially paid for him from Everton a couple of years ago. And because initially, we paid £75 million for him from Everton, but there were several add-ons included in the deal of £15 million, which initially, risen it to around £90 million. So Lukaku is our second most expensive signing. Maybe we even are orchestrating on, gaining them a little bit of a profit, but Inter Milan are struggling to meet our valuation. I do believe Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions. Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players to help them generate funds. To me, that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. I do believe, we've given Inter Milan a certain amount of time. To me, meet our £75 million asking price. Reportedly, we've imposed a deadline on Lukaku's transfer to Inter Milan. It actually, said this earlier on this week. But there's a possible chance Lukaku could possibly, still remain at the football club. Obviously, as I did update you on it, come out a couple of days ago, and obviously, when the Man United squad had returned from China to return to Manchester, obviously, Romelu Lukaku immediately left Manchester to board a flight to Belgium to go meet up with his agent, to discuss a potential move to Inter Milan. And obviously, Lukaku's agent Federico Pastorella has held quite a few talks and that over into Milan. So quite clearly, Lukaku wants to leave Manchester United. Obviously, as Lukaku has not yet made an appearance on tour. Allegedly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that Lukaku was injured. Reportedly, he's had some kind of ankle problem. But with him missing them pre-season games, obviously, that's going to add more speculation in regards to his long-term future. But potentially, Antonio Conte has identified, Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, when Antonio Conte was the Chelsea manager a couple of years ago, at that point he wanted Romelu Lukaku, but obviously he ended up making the move to Manchester United. So Antonio Conte has been a long admirer the player. Inter Milan have obviously tried with a £54 million bid. Obviously, they had that £54 million bid turned down. Obviously, they've inquired about getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan with then the obligation to buy. But obviously, again, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let him go on a permanent deal. But actually, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target. And I think Lukaku is keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance because he did describe Antonio Conte as the best manager in the world, and probably maybe Lukaku believes he will flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance and all that. But yeah, we want around 75 or 80 million pounds for Lukaku and all that. And I think Inter Milan we're also unwilling to accept swap deals as well, that Inter Milan have offered us, because obviously they've tried offering us Mario Cardi, they've also, tried offering us, Ivan Perisic. I think at one point they also tried offering us Radja Goal, but again, Manchester United didn't go along with this. But reports indicated that, was it over a month, saying that a month ago now, saying that, Lukaku had allegedly agreed to personal terms with Inter Milan. It also said, he had agreed a contract, worth around 180 grand a week, but no fee has come to an agreement. Obviously, Inter Milan have held several talks with us. The other week, the Inter Milan director travelled to London, to obviously hold more talks and that with Manchester United. But now, actually, like I said, Juventus have entered the race, and I think now Juventus are orchestrating on hijacking Inter Milan's move for Lukaku. So now with Juventus coming in, this could maybe now make Inter Milan speed up their pursuit of Lukaku, and it could maybe force them to meet our current valuation. I'm not too sure, but Juventus have actually now entered the race. So as I updated you yesterday, I've been updating you the last couple of days. Reportedly, Juventus are willing to offer Paul Dybala in a swap deal for Romelu Lukaku. And I think Manchester United, a lot of Manchester United fans, would take this with a pinch of salt, to be quite honest with you. But I'd love, Dybala I'd love Dybala to come in. I think it would be very, very beneficial if Dybala, was to come to Manchester United. And we have been linked to him for quite some time. Like I said, I was reading reports earlier on this week, saying that Tottenham had entered the race for Dybala. He reportedly actually said yes to a move to Tottenham allegedly, but he has definitely said yes Dybala to a transfer away from Juventus, because initially Dybala has been in talks with Sarri. Well, he's spoken to Sarri, and he's basically reportedly now changed his transfer stance, so he wants to leave Juventus now. Dybala, obviously, we've been linked with him for quite some time, and he's a very, very good player, Mr. Paul Dybala, and I think him as part of the deal with Lukaku, would be fantastic. Discarding Paul Dybala as being part of any swap deal, is probably going to cost you from between maybe 70 to 90 million pounds, because Juventus did confirm that they would sell him as long as we're willing to meet their valuation. This is discarding Dybala being part of any swap deal with Lukaku. It's going to cost between 70 or 90 million pounds. I did initially say our move for Dybala anywhere is dependent on whether we can sell Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, I did say Juventus, initially, value him at around 80 million pounds. Obviously, like I said, Tottenham have been in talks with Juventus over an audacious move for Paul Dybala. Tottenham, would obviously have to smash their transfer record to get a deal over the line. Tottenham obviously orchestrating on putting Dybala alongside Harry Kane in their attacking, and I do believe, they're blending really, really well. And it'd make Tottenham even stronger than what they initially are now, because they are a strong team now. This is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation for a lot of years, if I'm going to be quite honest. And they have been being competitive for quite some time now. But obviously, Pochettino's obviously expectations will be this season. It will be, to win silverware and that as a manager and win silverware with Tottenham. So that's what basically he needs to currently do. But yeah, Tottenham have been in there for Paulo Dybala. But I like Paulo Dybala a lot. I think there's better players out there than him. I think the majority of his 4 years with Juventus, he's done really, really well. He has been there 4 years, and his 4 years with Juventus, he's scored 78 goals in 182 appearances in all competitions. He's been named in the Serie A Team of the Year on 3 occasions, and he's won 4 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italians his 4 years in cheering as Paulo Dybala. And obviously I think Juventus did pay around €40 million for him from Parma back in 2015. He's under contract with Juventus until I think 2022, so he's got around 2.5, 3 years left on his contract. But Paulo Dybala can play as an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a forward, can the player. So I think we'd actually see him as a replacement for either Paul Pogba or Romelu Lukaku, because he can play as an attacking mid and he can also play as a forward, can Dybala. But I presume he's very, very good. He's creative. He's got Lander's potential. He's an efficient finisher. He's an agile player. He's Paulo Dybala, and still only 25 years of age, and still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Obviously hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, so doesn't know out about the Premier League, because he hasn't played in the Premier League, but probably would have all the attributes to come and succeed in the Premier League. I do believe there's room for improvements in his game, because I've still got a bit of concerns about him, but he enjoyed a difficult season last season, did Dybala. He enjoyed a difficult season, because since he rather of Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Dybala has found himself these 2 requirements and all that. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him going, and his brother and his agent came out a while back and they indicated out that Paul Dybala could leave Juventus this summer. So reportedly Dybala could be part of the deal of Lukaku going to Juventus, and of course Dybala coming to Manchester United, and I think that would be very, very beneficial indeed. So Juventus are willing to make this bid for Lukaku, including Dybala as part of the deal. So I think that would be very, very good for Manchester United, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. There's been quite a few players mentioned anyway, who could replace Lukaku at the football club, like he updated you the other day about Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Obviously I think we'd been in for Moussa Dembele before, and I think Moussa Dembele would be a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. It would be very, very good replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because he's actually not an out-and-out number 9. He's Moussa Dembele. Obviously, last season was his first season in France with Lyon. I think he scored 20 goals in 46 games in all competitions. Obviously, Lyon paid, was it around £20 million for him from Celtic last summer. And I think, he did have 2 good years in Scotland. He also did very, very well, with Fulham, when he was younger. That's where he initially began his senior career. Moussa Dembele is only 23 years of age. I think he just turned 23 years of age as Moussa Dembele. He's still in the contract with Lyon until 2023, but reportedly said we've identified him as a possible replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, with Nicolas Pepe, we've obviously identified him as a possible replacement for Romelu Lukaku, but I'm very, very sceptical about Nicolas Pepe coming to Manchester United, because I don't think it's currently going to happen. I was reading reports about Nicolas Pepe yesterday, and it actually said that Arsenal had around a £72 million bid accepted for Nicolas Pepe. Well, actually, Gerard Lopez, the Lille president, he came out earlier on this week, and he actually said that he has received 4 acceptable bids for Nicolas Pepe. Obviously, Nicolas Pepe's permanent exit away from Lille is on the verge of completion. So actually, Nicolas Pepe could end up making the move to Arsenal. But there's so many teams that have been in there for him. There's been Napoli that have been in for him, as Carlo Ancelotti confirmed earlier on this week that Nicolas Pepe's agent obviously went to the Napoli team hotel to discuss a potential move. So Napoli are reportedly willing to meet what they're demanding. Arsenal and Liverpool have reportedly reached the figure of what Lille are demanding, and so too have Inter Milan. All them teams have been in for him. PSG have been in for him. I think Bayern Munich were in for him at one point. But like I said, he actually said earlier on this week that we'd been considered the favourites to sign Nicolas Pepe. But that was basically the media just speculating and mainly just justifying their existence. So yeah, very them stories about him coming to Manchester United proven to be very, very cynical indeed. This came from Duncan Castle's match last week, saying we've moved ahead of Liverpool and Arsenal in our pursuit in the race to sign Nicolas Pepe. And I would be excited about the prospect of Nicolas Pepe coming in, because I think he'd blend in very, very well in our attacking line. I think he'd look good alongside the likes of Marcus Rashford, Marcus Rashford, you know, Mason Greenwood, Martial and all that, I think he would look absolutely fantastic because, you know, he can score goals, you know, Nicolas Pepe can create chances, he can provide assists, you know, he's good in the air, he's primarily a winner, and he's the obvious candidate for the right win for Man United, but, you know, he isn't currently, you know, coming out to Manchester United, so he may come to the Premier League, and if he comes to the Premier League anywhere, I think it'll be the next step in his career. I think it'll rejuvenate his career and all that, and he's only 24 years of age, is Nicolas Pepe. You know, he spent the entirety of his career in France so far. You know, he served 2 years there with Lille, 37 goals in 79 appearances in all competitions there for Lille. Obviously, I think last season was the revelation for Lille, scored around 22 goals and provided 11 assists. Did Nicolas Pepe. He's still got 3 years left on his contract there with Lille. And yeah, but there's been so many teams there that have been in there for him. But yeah, I don't think he's going to Manchester United. But with Lukaku, like I said, you know, Solskjaer's held talks with Lukaku, and you know he wants him to stay for 1 more season. But Lukaku's confirmed he wants to leave the club. You know, he's been here 2 years. You know, he was exceptional in his first season with Manchester United with Lukaku, but didn't really replicate that, of course, in his second season. And so yeah, I think we definitely need to get rid of him. So I think it would be beneficial if he goes to Juventus, you know, so we can get Paul Dybala, you know, to come to Manchester United. So we'll see what happens. But I also believe, like I said, we need to sell players. We need to sell Darmian, you know, we need to sell Rojo and all that. You know, because I believe we can generate around, 30 or 35 million pounds for their departure. And Darmian and Rojo have both enjoyed difficult times at the club. You know, with Darmian, because he hasn't really been given a chance. And I think with Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected there with the amount of injuries and that he has currently sustained. Yeah, so the main part of this video was to give you the news about Bruno Fernandes. Also, I wanted to give you an update about Harry Maguire. Like I said earlier on in the video, Leicester now reportedly have told Man United they want a higher transfer fee up front. Reportedly, we've offered around £72 million with additional bonus payments. To be paid if we they are set to be paid, you know, if we secured Champions League qualification and all that. But Leicester, you know, don't think, you know, we are currently, you know, going to qualify for the Champions League next season, so they want us to pay more up front. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on this channel. If you do, consider subscribing. As always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.